How are you today?
I'm good, Sylvia. How are you doing?
I'm doing really well. I'm very excited to hear about your program. I know I have a lot of students that are looking to find out what they can do in the summer or extracurricular activities that may be more online. And you have a fascinating opportunity for them when it comes to artificial intelligence. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Absolutely, yeah. So I help program manage the Veritas AI program. At Veritas AI, we're all about giving students learning and passion project opportunities in the artificial intelligence space through a fully remote program. So our students engage in a combination of online collaborative courses and one-on-one mentorship programs with top AI practitioners and researchers to build out AI projects in whatever field they're most excited about, from astronomy, which is my background, to
Oh,
medicine, to finance, to
okay.
pretty much anything that they want to problem solve with.
That is fascinating. I don't think I've ever thought about it in terms of problem solving. Maybe I've been watching too many movies or TV programs that make it seem like it's something that's like super sleuth. You're a detective, you're using it as almost spy-ish kind of genre. Can you tell us a little bit about the practical aspect of AI?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think what people don't realize about AI, which is something we're trying to work towards providing a larger collective understanding on, is that AI is really just at its core a data science toolkit to be able to predict outcomes out of data. Our world is very much data driven these days. Science
Mm-hmm.
fields more than anything, but even things like literature can be broken down as like text data, images can be broken down as image based data. And all AI is able to do is intake data, recognize patterns that exist across that data, in much in the way a person would, but might take them longer, and produce outputs. So a lot of the very simple math we think about in the world that we're taught, like, elementary through high school, is math that AI can automate doing. And a lot of more high level classifications or predictions are things that AI can provide as well. So yeah, AI really is just a problem solving toolkit with pretty universal applications.
So I have to be honest, you said the M word, math. I have a lot of students that once you say that, they tune you out. So can you tell us a little bit about how the math kind of integrates with what you're saying and how it can be looked at not so much as an enemy, but a friend?
Yeah, so a big thing that I will say is that programs like Veritas AI are definitely a good fit for, let's say, computationally minded kids. Kids who like the idea of coding, like the idea of
Ah, okay.
using
Mhm.
software or technology to solve problems. And very much all the math that comes in place in a program like ours is largely embedded in the coding itself. And so a lot of our students aren't really doing like, integrals out on paper. They're
Mhm.
utilizing machine learning frameworks. They're utilizing these different areas of AI software to compute math and statistical probabilities with code itself. And so for a lot of our kids, I will say math and stats are important. Building that foundation in high school for AI is really relevant to having the best understanding. A big thing I'll note is that ultimately, though, that math is not what's essential. It's more that the students are able to code and build out these models and software to solve the problems they want to solve.
Now, I did sit in one of your classes, and I have to say, I'm an English major, so literature and writing is my background, especially now as a college admissions coach. But I do want to say that I felt very comfortable in the class, and even though I sat in for a short period of time, your instructor was really engaging. Even though they were talking about coding and patterns and sequence, it seemed like this was something that really was the students were drawn in. Your class was definitely drawn in. So I can see how that can come out as a possibility for some of the students that are considering doing your program. With that said, I know that some of your students have used this as they're applying to college. Can you tell us a little bit about how the skill sets they may be learning to be able to apply that to college admissions?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I'd be happy to talk about this from both a tangible perspective of program outcomes we give students, as well as more intangible skills they build. I think it's important for a program like ours, which interfaces with high school students, to, yes, focus on the skills we want students to build, AI, but we also need to be forward thinking and making sure that opportunities like this help students in the next part of their journey. It's not really effective for us to just teach students AI for the sake of AI if we're not helping them think critically about a career in this field, how it relates to colleges, etc. So the big way that we focus on this program is around, I would say, pretty intangibly, skill development and AI learning. So giving students a broad sense of what a data science project life cycle looks like and how that carries forward into career projects. We also work with them very tangibly to ensure that they walk away from the program with outcomes they can bring into the college application process. So, yes, of course, the experience is something they can intangibly write about in their essays, especially essays about why they want to pursue engineering or why they want to pursue the major they want to pursue. But we also make sure that each student walks away with, in all of our programs, a coding repository like a Google Colab that they've built that they can showcase on their resume for technical experience or as a technical portfolio. They walk away with a presentation on their work that communicates the science or the outcomes. And students in our fellowship, moreover, because they're working one on one with the mentor, all walk away with a personalized mentor evaluation and, assuming a good relationship, a recommendation also that helps them really demonstrate from an expert's point of view the expertise
Right.
and skills they've built that they can bring into that college environment.
Well, and I really appreciate the call out of the letter of recommendation from someone that they've worked with individually, because I think a lot of students feel that they perhaps don't know someone that they want to include in a letter of recommendation, and here is something that they can do with someone in a field that's related to what they may want to study. And I think that's one point that a student can consider your program for. But I think what you're touching on in the skill set also is really important, because when I'm working with students about their writing, in particular when it comes to some of the technical, or if they've done something that's more computational or mathematics or science, they don't feel they have some of those softer skill sets, and I have to draw it out. So it's nice that a program like yours gives them the opportunity to have some of that language so they can insert it into their college applications. I also want to say that this is the time of the year where I'm reading scholarship applications. And right now I'm reading for a national scholarship. And it's very interesting when students are asked about leadership, when they draw out something like this for that example. Can you tell us a little bit about how leadership can be perhaps an example of how leaderships can be used within your programs?
Yeah, I would say that there are two ways that I would see leadership projecting onto our program, and I'll give it in the context of our two program offerings, our AI Scholars Group class, the one that you
Mm-hmm.
attended, as well as our AI Fellowship, the one-on-one program. So in the group class, a big part of the project students work on are collaborative coding exercises or opportunities to work collaboratively to debug and build effective AI algorithms and software. There's lots of opportunities for students to demonstrate individual moments of leadership or collective leadership in those groups by getting to participate and contribute to the project, giving in whatever skill set they have best to offer. If they're the top coder in the group, they can kind of help lead software development. If they're the better
Mm-hmm.
scientist or theoretical scientist in the group, they can help lead conceptualization, the presentation. There's lots of opportunities for students to take different leadership opportunities in this deeply
Right.
collaborative space.
Mm-hmm.
I would argue that in the fellowship piece, the leadership is much more of what kind of impact the student wants to drive in their work. I think oftentimes we kind of reserve leadership to be this idea of leading a group of people in a very tangible team. But I think that students who focus on and want to drive impact by the work that they're doing to better serve communities around them, to better serve the larger public, are also demonstrating leadership, even if a lot of what they're doing is individual in its nature. For instance, we've had students work on projects to use computer vision or AI for images to
Oh.
better construct crosswalk recognition schemes for people with visual impairment. We've had other students work on projects for sign language recognition, which is, of course, important for other communities. And so I think that these speak to projects students can drive towards that make deep impact and really showcase a sense of leadership that goes more into the collective rather than just
Mhm.
like simple one on one teammate basic stuff.
And I like that you're actually helping the student define leadership. That's my biggest issue with students, is really helping them understand that leadership doesn't come with a title. You can be the president of something and it's fantastic on the resume because it does give you an opportunity to be able to say that you were selected as part of a process. But in actuality, what did you gain from that other than we know you're popular because you were selected to be president? But I think what you're helping students define is far more reaching than what it is for them to just get a title or anything like that. No shade to those that have titles. Please don't call or write and say that we did something, against those that are the established leadership. But I think there's far more students that don't have those opportunities, and a program like yours can help them establish what they want to say and what they want to work around. So here we are at the process where we're promoting your programming. What kind of students are you looking for? Are you looking for self starters? Are you looking for those that are team based, how is it that what type of student really needs to consider your programming?
Of course, yeah. So I would say there's a couple qualities that I can definitely point out that we're looking to see and evaluate as part of applications, interviews, etc. So probably the biggest things we're looking for here are a sense of commitment. These are fully remote programs. Students have to very
Oh, good point.
actively, voluntarily
Mhm. Mhm.
continue to attend all sessions or go through all sessions with their mentor in the fellowship. And so commitment is deeply important to us, and a great mark of maturity for the student. We're looking for also a big sense of curiosity. And I mean this in two kind of different ways. We're looking for students who are thinking about the way AI works. To be very clear, I don't expect students to know like how Chat GPT or one of those buzzwords works already.
Mhm.
I more want to see students though thinking about the fact that when you wake up in the morning and open your phone, that Face ID is AI. When you're using Netflix or Google or Amazon, any of these search functions
Mhm.
involve AI. AI is all around us. We want to see a curiosity for that or awareness of that AI in students. Second part of that curiosity is also, especially for our fellowship, what do you want to do with AI? How are you
Mhm.
thinking
Mhm.
about applying this toolkit? What are your passions in and outside of computer science? So these are the very kind of higher level qualities we're looking for students.
Right.
Quick thing to
Mhm.
note also is for the fellowship, we are looking for students with coding background. So having a coding experience is pretty critical to be able to be self-driving in that project and be able to do that work independently. AI Scholars is more of a bridge program, so we're more open to different levels of coding background, but having a coding edge definitely can't hurt, especially for the fellowship.
That's fantastic. And you're providing such an opportunity for students. So, just out of curiosity, what prompted you to get this particular programming going? Like, what led to that in your own experience?
Yeah, absolutely. So, what really brought me to Veritas, I would say, is a combination of my teaching and my research background. In particular, I've been in the education sector informally and formally for the last like 6 or 7 years, since high school at least. Oh, 8 or 9 years is the better terminology there. In high school, it started off with teaching students, specifically with learning disabilities. And I think for me, that helped me realize how important curated learning and ultimately mentorship is to student learning
Mhm.
outcomes.
Mhm.
Throughout college, I explored a bunch of things like TAing for Harvard's math department, to teaching young students in the Boston area, to working at a hagwon even in Seoul. And these experiences kind of just made me feel more closely related to the work that my professors were doing.
Mhm.
That spun me into research. That's how that second kind of sector got started. I was really passionate about astronomy in college. I think the reason I love astronomy very well much projected onto how I came to love AI. I
Mhm.
love astronomy because I think it presents everything in the world quite literally.
Mhm.
As I kind of explored the field of astronomy, which is very data driven, through a small fellowship, I'd only been coding for a semester at that point in time, but I stumbled upon AI and was very quickly able to leverage it for a meaningful project outcome. And I realized like two things. I loved AI because in the same way that astronomy explains everything in the world, AI is a method to understand it. And secondly, if I could pick up after a semester of coding like AI that quickly, it is definitely true that young high school students who soak up information, languages, etc., like sponges, can also learn and master that skill set. And so this culmination of teaching and research for me is what really brought me into becoming so passionate about AI education and which really drives me in the work that I'm doing now and just why I'm so excited to give these project opportunities to our kids.
That's amazing, and I think you embody curiosity. It seems that we want to make sure that we're giving students the opportunity not only to model, but also really be curious and be and explore what their options are and what they want to do. And that's ultimately like someone like myself, or even a school counselor that's trying to help somebody to explore what their career options, short term or long term. I think it's fair that this is something that you're going to provide them a wonderful opportunity for. Well, thank you so much again for joining me today and having this conversation. Can you give us the dates of your next programming and when it's due?
Yeah, absolutely. So our next program is going to be primarily our summer program. The deadline for that will be March 13th as a priority
Mhm.
deadline. We'll have rolling deadlines through May, but for any students interested, especially in our fellowship, encourage you to hit the priority deadline because that ensures we get you a better fit mentor match. Summer program will run starting at two different times, one at the start of June, one at the start of July, just depending on what schedule works for you and your academic calendar. But yeah, those are the next dates, and really excited to hopefully have some people join us very soon.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time today. And I look forward to having some collaborative conversations with you in the future. And Again, thank you for joining us.
Of course, thank you so much for having me, Sylvia.